Hey everyone, it's Rock Kren. I am I'm incredibly enthused about the first episode of the G.I. Joe cartoon. I just watched it and it's so action-packed. I have forgotten about how awesome that was. And 10-year-old me was like, it's not as cool as the comic book. Because the comic book is straight up G. I mean, the G.I. Joes in the comic they're Marines and they're special forces and they kill people. I mean, yeah, they're killing people. And they're not apologetic about it because they're at war, They're not like just goofing off. Nah. This cartoon, though, is so legit. I mean, except for the fact that everyone survives every battle. I know it's meant to be this way. I know it's meant to, it was a kid's show. It absolutely was. And your boy Zach led me over here to the Hasbro channel to watch it. Yeah. Many props to him. I have a slightly different take, but I understand where he was coming from. He's like, it's a musical. Because the music fits every scene, every action of the show. The music fits the scene. It's just so cool. I had no idea. I hadn't seen it since 2000. What was it? The 25th anniversary, like 2007, 2008, something like that. When they relaunched all the figures, but there was a vehicle set that had the DVD of this show in there. And I tried to watch it with Sarah, my ex-girlfriend, and she didn't like it. So we didn't watch it. But watching it now by myself just brings back all the emotions, man, and the heroism of the characters. Duke just rushes in near the end. Like, I don't care. I'm capturing the Baroness. She's a villain, and I'm going to go get her. Holy shit, that's my hairline these days. Anyways, that doesn't matter. It's the opinion right here. The heroism, the abject, just awesomeness of this cartoon. And I know when I was a kid, I wanted to join the military. I really did. My father was a Marine, and I got a 97% on the ASVAB, and I was heavily recruited, and I was going to join. And then, I don't want to kill people, like ever. And, talk to the Marines and talk to the Navy and talk to the Air Force, and everyone's like, we want to have you. And they're trying to bring me their most, like, here's a program for you, right? Like, the Navy basically wanted to put me into the CIA where I wouldn't have to kill people. I would just have to order other people to kill people. If that makes any sense. I mean, I would get the information and I would tell my boss, and the boss would tell people to kill people. Yeah, I had to step back. I had to say no. Even though I passed there. They said you got 2 hours to do this test. I was done with it in 10 minutes. I figured out all their secret codes and everything. I'm a hyper intelligent dude, I think, at some points. And especially back then. And they were incredibly impressed because I got everything right. I didn't make any mistakes, and so they recruited me hard. They were like, well, you got to go through basic training. I'm like, I was on the football team. Well, they didn't let me on the team, but I practiced with them every day. And, yeah, I can't imagine more than 1,000 sit-ups or push-ups every day. I can't imagine more weightlifting than I did. So I was like, I'm down. I'm so down. And then, you know, war broke out in the Middle East. And I would be responsible for the death of people over there. Not, not personally. I didn't go over there and kill them. But, I was in intelligence. And I led my government and the people that were higher above me to go kill those people. And I don't care what you believe in. I honestly don't. I mean, I think, like, religion is the worst thing on earth. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to the planet. But I understand how it happens. They hate me because I was raised in America. That's it. That's all it takes for those extremists. So, yeah. But I don't want them dead as much as they want me dead. I'm a deviant, I'll admit. I mean, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a religious person at all. I even try to tell my friends, like, religion is awful. I mean, but yesterday I was watching a stream and the girl on there was like, church isn't for the saints, it's for the sinners. Never heard that before. Kind of blew my mind. But I'm not a religious person, but yeah, there are times when I'm like, is someone out there? I know there isn't. I'm smart enough to know that, but like, I've been reading fiction my whole life, and the people there, they know their gods are real. Because the gods have physically walked the land. And when they physically walked the land, they acted just like people. Strange as that is, I mean, it was a good story. I mean, The Time of Troubles in the Forgotten Realms is a good story. And especially how the big three of the evil gods all get peeled. I especially like that because I'm a good person, I think. I mean, I'm lousy at being a human, but I care about everyone. I look at my own self and I'm like, why aren't I in bed? Why aren't I doing better? Why aren't I taking care of myself? And, well, I just had an idea for a new video because your boy Zach told me to go watch G.I. Joe. And G.I. Joe is a big part of my childhood. And I watched it, and it's silly as all fuck, but everyone in it is legit. They're really trying to achieve their agendas. They're not there to, like, proselytize and give you, like, speech. Not even Duke. Like, at the most, Scarlett, the woman on the G.I. Joe team, gives you some, like, SJW nonsense, but it's not. It wasn't written that way. It's just how it comes across now, And the Baroness is just wicked and evil. Like, like any villain should be. I mean, it's fucking cool. And it's exciting. I know what happens in the end, but I sat down and watched it on YouTube. It's free to watch on Hasbro's YouTube channel. Just look up The Mass Device. They're not in order or anything. Just, you It's stupid. They don't have a playlist for it, but excuse me while I wipe my nose. I might have the coronavirus, and I've let y'all know that. But yeah, it's an incredibly fun watch once you get rid of your nostalgia. I mean, Grunt's nowhere in there, and that always bummed me out. When I watched it as a kid, he was like my favorite character, Robert E. Edwards, something like that. E4, that was his pay grade. He's a regular dude. But he's the best Grunt. He's not colorful like the rest of them. He's the plain G.I. Joe figure. He doesn't have any accents at all. And I wouldn't say he reminded me of me, but I always liked it because he's plain. He's regular. Like Flash had a red vest and Zap had like some kind of sleeves on, and the early characters, try to think back, they all had something. Stalker had camo print. Rock and Roll had the double bandoliers, which Zach says in his video, when he tried to do that in the military, they were like, nah, dude, nah. And he was like, well, yeah, but I saw it on G.I. Joe. And I had the figure. He's so cool. His favorite character, maybe. I don't know. Because he didn't make his way to the show, so we had to read the comics to find Rock and Roll. Stalker in the comics is a complete ninja. Like, I don't know what is. He's a Marine, like Special Forces Marine. First issue of G.I. Joe, he kicks open a door and throws a grenade in there, and then he walks in with a shotgun and finishes off those dudes. The comic was a lot more hardcore than the cartoon, but the cartoon is supposed to appeal to a wide range of children, and the comic book was for, I don't know, 40-year-old men. Like, I honestly don't know. I mean, at the time, all those Vietnam movies were coming out, Full Metal Jacket, Platoon, Hamburger Hill, really inspiring young men to join the military. And G.I. Joe, and there was another comic called The Nam, both written by the same guy. Larry Hama was just kind of writing about his experience over there. But in G.I. Joe, he was writing superhero comics. Really. I mean, the Joes are superheroes, and the Cobras are supervillains, and yeah. I mean, it's big action all the time. And over in the Nam, it's like, he laid off the drug abuse and the alcohol, and he put in like most of the day-to-day grunt work of a American GI over there. And, it was in comic book form, and the art, I wish I could remember the artist's name because it was so good. When he left the book died. Who was that? Anyways, yeah. Just saying, Larry Hama is a comic book legend, and I love him. Like, those books and, like, the movie Top Gun and those Vietnam movies and all that, it just gave me a sense of, like, loyalty. Where you didn't see that in the real world, at least not as a teenager. You didn't never have any of that. Because anyone could turn on you at the drop of a dime for nothing. But, yeah, those movies give you, like, and the comics and the G.I. Joe, and you want to be part of something. I think that was the idea. You hear my voice now, I might have COVID for 19. So I'm just sharing, it's not the same video as Zach's. You can go watch his. I won't share the link down below because I don't know how to do that. I am on the interwebs. Gee whiz. And just last week, I thought all my hair was growing back. It was weird and looked so much cooler when I looked at myself in the mirror. But not today, but that's okay. Sorry to digress. Yeah. G.I. Joe, The Mass Device. It's on YouTube for free. You just gotta look it up, and I don't know. Fuck, why are my eyes closed? What happened to me? I used to be bright-eyed. No, I know, now that I say that. I might be depressed or something. I might have a problem, like, mentally. Or I might just be super tired. I don't know. But, I hope you're all alright out there. I'm feeling better. Not good, but better. I love you all 18 of you. I know there's more people that watch these videos, but it's only 18 subscribers, and I just want to open my eyes. See, it's so weird. I don't know if my eyes always look like this. I don't know. Like, I'm always, like, half asleep. Because that's what it looks like to me. But my ex-girlfriend, Sarah, would say, you have the most bluest eyes of all time. And I would open them wide when she'd say that, right? Just to give her, like, the full experience. And, I don't know why this video devolved. The Mass Device, G.I. Joe. It's cartoony as fuck. I mean, it is a cartoon, and it was aimed at boys back in the day. But there are strong female characters. It's not like... And there's none of that pandering. None of that nonsense. Nothing... There's nothing in it that would say, hey, we're not going to tell you a good story because we're trying to get women involved. And I don't know why women don't want a good story. I don't know why gay people don't want a good story. I don't understand any of this. Pandering to people that aren't going to even watch or read it or any of that shit. Doesn't make any sense. And comic books and TV, that's a business. You're only in it to make money. I know you might say I have my artistic freedom. I have, like, comic books especially, you have your artistic freedom. You can tell any story you want with, you can build any character you want. It's amazing. And the artwork has no, like, that's what I've been saying for years. There's no, like, special effects budget. Just let your artist go wild. Give them a good idea, like a lot of fun shit to draw, and let them go wild. Yeah. That's what makes comics great. That's why it's the greatest medium of entertainment of all time. Right now, it's just completely mired with stupid people, like the biggest idiots on earth, just social justice warriors that think, like, representation means more than a story, than oh yeah, people want to see themselves in a comic book. I never wanted to see myself in a comic book. Now, you could say, well, you're a white man. You've seen yourself in every comic book. Nah, not at all. There have always, I shouldn't say always, since the 60s, though, there's been black people in comics. There's been women in comics. Wonder Woman was created in what, 1922, something like that, or 30 or 41, something like that, I don't know. But I mean, she's been around a long time, a female lead character. And USJW assholes say we need more women in comics. Like, women don't read comic books. You have to write a special story to get women involved in comics. And I think Vertigo was a great place to get women to read comic books because, you know, the stories, the art isn't all important. It's the story. For boys like me, the artwork has to fucking pop. It has to do something. The characters have to look rad, you know. That's me, though. I'm a boy. I like that stuff. But when I introduced Sarah to Fables, she ate that shit up because the art's not important. Mark Buckingham is an amazing artist. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say anything bad about him, but it was the writing, it's the characters, it's all the things that she knew before she read the comic. Only different. It, you know, anybody out there ever read Fables? It's the stories you've heard your entire life, only different. And it's super cool. I used to love it. I remember when, shit. Well, it doesn't matter because I don't remember all of a sudden. But somebody got the sword, the Vorpal sword that cuts people's heads off and says, Snicker Snack. And that character, he was like, you know what? I'm going back to our world. I'm taking it back, yo. I'm going to do it by myself because I got all these awesome magical items and I have my will. He's a hero. Just a fucking hero. Can't remember his name. It's in the comic book, Fables. The gist of Fables is they all, had to bail from Fable World because there was a great evil there, and they all came to New York and hang out. So, I remember when I heard the synopsis, I was like, I don't care. It doesn't interest me at all. I got all kinds of comics to read. But, I picked up the first trade. I was like, let's see. Let's just see. And it's awesome. I mean, that is comic book work at its highest level. And it stayed that way. Every month you're getting a great comic book, and there's nothing to fear because I hate saying this, but I don't know who's going to watch this video, but I know you're going to get sick of me saying SJW. They're the worst fucking humans of all time. At least as far as comic books go. They've ruined the greatest medium of entertainment on earth. They've ruined it all. Because they have to add their politics. They have to add diversity when it wasn't needed. They have to beg for it too. The SJWs on Twitter have to beg you to add diversity to a comic that was already diverse. Like the X-Men. Holy shit. These motherfuckers want to take down the X-Men, saying, well, yeah, since the 80s since the 60s you've had a woman on the team. Here's something that you don't know. Or you do know, and you're just an asshole. When they make a toy line, hey, we got all these awesome characters. Let's make a toy line. You only make one girl figure because nobody cares. The boys aren't going to buy it. The boys aren't going to buy that female character. They're not. And if it's made for boys. It's okay. I mean, does that add to misogyny? Is it a misogynistic look? Maybe. But the truth is there. Boys don't buy female action figures unless, it's Jem and the holograms. Because I'd buy all those figures because they were hot. Those action figures were, oh my God, I can't remember how many times well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so, but my parents wouldn't buy me Jem and the holograms. They bought me He-Man. They bought me G.I. Joe. They bought me Transformers because, it's that era. I had to beg them for Mask. I thought Mask was super cool because the figures were really articulate and their vehicles were so amazing. I know I can open my eyes. What the fuck is happening here? What is this a challenge? I don't know. Anyhow. Yeah, the 80s were marketed perfectly. Like, the toys. I mean, they brought out She-Ra, a cartoon and a toy line, and nobody bought it. That's not my fault. I mean, G.I. Joe sold like hotcakes. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe sold so many toys. I remember giving them all to my friends, who I can't remember. It was the deaf kid and his little brother. I can't remember their names. It was so long ago. They used to always come over to my house and just be like, let's play with He-Man. And I'd kind of grown up a little bit, like He-Man didn't appeal to me anymore. I mean, the figures are amazing. If you've ever seen a He-Man toy from the 80s, they're like the biggest. Fuck, they're inarticulate. They got like arms and legs that move, but their legs don't even move. Their waist moves. They're not the articulation that the G.I. Joe guys had. Nothing like that. Just gigantic muscular bodies. And when I first saw it, I was like, that's what I want. I had Castle Grayskull, and I didn't have Cringer, but I did have, what's the evil cat's name? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I thought about He-Man, but yeah, I used to have all this shit. Because my parents were loaded, it turns out. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. I mean, my parents worked, and they worked hard to provide for our family. And, my brother was kicked out, and then my sister was kicked out, and I'm like, oh shit, when am I getting kicked out? But, surprise, surprise, I was the good kid. I didn't do drugs. I didn't drink. I read comic books. That's what I did. I read superhero comic books, and that was my passion. I had a group of friends that also read superhero comic books, so we could read and review. I'm not incensed today. I'm happy. I think that's the difference. And I'm potentially very ill. So, yeah, I want y'all to watch G.I. Joe on YouTube just to see what it was like. Because it's like big damn hero shit. It's what we all want, right? It's like Zach says all the time. He says he ran into a bunch of, not on purpose. He's just walking down the street and he was accosted by a gang of black guys. And they're like, I think we've seen you on YouTube, yo. And he's like, okay, well, who do you prefer, Sam Wilson or Steve Rogers? And they all said Steve Rogers. They didn't pick the black character. They picked the white guy because that's the stories that they're used to. This is the stories they grew up with. This is the heroism that they know. And it doesn't matter if it's a white or black guy. It doesn't matter. Comic books are for everyone. Honestly. I mean, anyone can pick up any comic book. I don't care about your race. I hate talking about it. Your gender, your pronouns, your whomever you are, you can read a comic book. It's okay. The only problem is the ones that pander to you, if you're outside the normal spectrum, they're written by incompetents and drawn by people who shouldn't be in the comic book industry. For the most part. Because they hire people based on their pronouns and their gender. If they're no talent, they have no talent. They didn't work their way up in the comic book industry like you used to have to. Nah. We need someone to fill this role, right? So we need a black girl to write Riri Williams. And it'd be cool if this black girl we hire has the exact same haircut as the character. What is that about? What the fuck is that about? Turns out she's a good writer, and that's cool. But I mean, just her hair color, or her skin color and her haircut, that's why you hire her. The internet pushed for this, if you don't know. I love humanity. I think we are the best and worst thing that ever happened to the planet. And there's terrible people out there, and they have internet accounts, and they act like awful people because they can. Because they want to, it seems. I don't get it. I mean, and don't get me started on the pros, because they've had free reign to just be like, go fuck yourself if you don't like my story. And, that leads to a decline in comic book sales, because everyone knows, because the internet is a thing. Dan Slott says, go eat a bag of dicks or whatever. Jerry Duggan, I think he said that. No, he said pre-fucked dicks. I don't know what that means, but eat a bag of pre-fucked dicks, he told some fan who was just disappointed with, like, a storyline. And it wasn't even that pro's story. He shows up and says, fuck you, dude. Nah, fuck them. There are good comic pros out there. I can name a couple right off the top. Robert Venditti, Scott Snyder. I know there's more, but I know those two right off the top. They're always professional. They're always promoting. They're hot dog salesmen, like comic book people should be. They're trying to get you to buy their book, and that's why they're online. They're not there to spout about their politics and hate you for yours. Ugh. I'm just saying, man, the world used to be way better, and social media may have ruined it. But comic pros have shown their true colors, and they're, for the most part, a bunch of mean girls and just douchebags. I told Scott Snyder on Twitter, I'm very disappointed with your the way Metal and the Grim Knight and all this have infected the DC universe. And he wrote me back, go figure, right? And he said, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's how you deal with fans that are disappointed, right? You don't he didn't bash me or block me. Nah, he just said, oh, sorry. Because it's my opinion, right? I'm unhappy with the way the DC Universe is going lately. I used to love it. I'd spend so much money every month on DC Comics because it was honestly all interwoven. So if you read every book, you get the whole story. And it was so cool to me. To me, none of my friends, I don't have any friends who read comic books. But I could give them some like Fables, some like Fables or Y the Last Man or Preacher or something. And they're like, dude, comic books are awesome. I didn't know you could do all this. Yeah, well, it's an awesome art form. Most of my friends are musicians, though, so we tell stories a different way. I honestly believe that's why I've written some comic books in my day, but nothing published. Just stories. I had stories in my head and I wrote them down. I drew them myself. Not much of an artist, but I was trying to get that out of me. And at the same time, I was trying to be like the lead singer in a band. And we never achieved anything. We got a cool name, though, from me. I wish all these videos were online. I do honestly wish, like, the Pariah live shows were online. I don't know who's got those videos, but I'm sure somebody does. And these are on VHS. I'm not much of a front man. I don't have a lot of charisma. I was a teenager, or 20 years old. I didn't know how to be a front man. I mean, I watched videos. I've seen music videos and stuff, but I'm like, that ain't me. That's not this guy. This guy is, I want to deliver the song to you. That's all. I wrote this song. I have a message. I'm bringing it to you. That's all. I didn't know how. I mean, I'd seen it, but I can't be. That's not who I am. I'm not a flamboyant piece. Well, I'm not a flamboyant person. I'm a regular guy. I mean, people who've seen me outside the Chase Bank lately, they're like, who the fuck is that? And why the fuck is he singing so loud? And why is he air guitaring so hard? It's all about feeling. I have to feel something, and I have to feel good. And, I did the whole Toad the Wet Sprocket discography the other day. Made $15. I have a job. I'm not busking. I'm just trying to enjoy my life as a homeless person. I don't sit on the ground with a sign getting all dirty and nasty. And I keep myself clean. I haven't shaved in a couple days. I probably should. I don't know when I'm going to be allowed back to work because COVID-19, There we go. I think that's the perfect eye-opening. Anyhow, I mean, G.I. Joe was a great comic book and a fun TV show. And the cool part about the TV show was it was like 5 weeks. And the story was over, right? And then they bailed. This is how it started. And so it left us wanting more. And as a kid, I didn't know how to communicate with with Hasbro, saying, "Dude, give me more." But the action figures sold like crazy, and they made new ones all the time. And Larry Hama, the guy that wrote the comic book, and the Nom, another comic book, he wrote the flower cards for all the guys and girls. There was only 2 girls, I think, when I was a kid. It was Scarlet and Lady J. And they were treated with the utmost respect and were allowed to be incredibly badass. So even a boy would be like, dude, that chick's rad. You know? But, you know, it's a toy company. Hasbro's a toy company. Can't fill the shelves with female characters that no one wants to buy. Because all the toys were sold to boys. You know, I mean, girls had their own line of toys. They really did. I mean, I think it's still that way. I hope. I mean, if girls are buying like Star Wars figures because they love Rey from the movies, that's cool. When I was a kid, girls did not buy Princess Leia figures. They bought Strawberry Shortcake. They bought Mon Chi. Because it's targeted marketing. I had Stompers when I was... If you don't know what a Stomper is, it's like the raddest toy car when you're real little. Because you'd put 2 AA batteries in it, and on the commercials, they would climb over anything. In real life, it would climb over a lot of stuff because it had big, like, serrated wheels, just like it's going to grind its way over everything. Oh, it's so cool. I love the Stompers. But, I mean, they didn't have any personality. You know, it's just a car. Action figures had personality. And, you know, like you saw Star Wars, so you know who the characters are. But G.I. Joe, at first, it was the file cards. That's how you knew how they acted. Like Clutch, he calls women chicks. That's how he behaves. It's part of his file card. You get an idea of who the characters are. Like, because although they're all white males for the most part, Stalker being the lone exception, and Snake Eyes, you know. I mean, you don't know what he is until you find out. They were military. They're just... And they're not all the same. Not like Zap is like... He's the bazooka guy. He's the first action figure of G.I. Joe I ever saw. And it was Yodis Charnis's figure. And I accidentally broke the thumb off. This is something that happened a lot back in the day. Like the thumbs would just break off. I was like, no, a bazooka doesn't go that way. It goes this way. And I pulled it out of the figure's hand and then put it in the right way. And his thumb broke off. But it was the coolest action figure I'd ever seen at the time. And I felt bad. I was like, dude, I'll tell my mom to give you the $2 to buy you a new one. Because, of course, back then, action figures were very cheap. I mean, in comparison to now. I mean, now, like, you go to Walmart, there's a Batman figure. He's $20. When I was a kid, action figures were very cheap. But they weren't, like, inexpensive. It's... Like, I told my mom, I need a lot of these Cobra Grunts. She said, why? I'm like, well, because they're the bad guys. Who are my good guys going to fight? That one dude? That's unfair. And, you know, over the years, they brought out more bad guys, but there were individuals. It's Major Blood. It's Destro. It's the Baroness. But at first, it was just Cobra Commander and the Cobra Grunts versus, like, 7 other dudes. You know what I mean? Like, who did we have in the original? Because I know this. We had Grunt, Flash, Zap, Rock and Roll, Snake Eyes Scarlet, Stalker. Yeah, I think that's the originals. I think that's the original team. Those 7 dudes. But there was like Cobra Grunt and Cobra Commander. That's it. Cobra Grunt, Cobra Commander for bad guys. But the Cobra Grunt is meant to be like, you know, there's one leader and a bunch of followers. And they looked so cool, and they came with an AK-47, and they were just like that character. He had a mask up over his face, and he had a AK, like I said, but he was in blue, and he had a coat. I don't know. You'd have to see it. They look cool. They look super cool, and they're just grunts. So I told my mom, I need a bunch of those to, like, build the fantasy. If I'm going to play with these toys, I have to build the fantasy, right? I only ever got two Cobra grunts. But gladly, they gave us, like, the Dreadnoughts and Major Blood and the Baroness and Destro. They brought out all these guys. So that filled up the Cobra side pretty well. I mean, you can't, like, outgrow the original Joes. And then, like, there was a second wave of G.I. Joes where they added just 4 more good guys. It's like, shit. How are my heroes supposed to survive? Or are my villains, how are they supposed to survive against these 3 dudes? Yeah, you gotta tell stories, and you gotta make them work when you're a little kid. Because your parents don't play along. But I mean, they were great. They got me every new figure, every individual figure. And I can tell you, like, the second wave were so individual. And there was a thing, like, with me, I was like, I just want the guy with the most gear. That's all I want. Like, I don't care which figure you get me, Mom and Dad, but if you're looking at the toys on the shelf or on the rack, get the guy with the most gear. Because all those little pieces that came in there just brought the character alive to me. I'm like, oh, he needs snowshoes and skis, and he's got a gun, and he's got a backpack that carries everything. I have an idea of who this character is, not his personality or anything. That's all on the back of the toy packaging. But all that gear just gave me more shit to play with. And honestly, I mean, that's what kids want. They just want more shit to play with. And for like $1.99, you couldn't go wrong with a snow job figure. Because that's the guy I just described. He's in a snowsuit, and he's got a red beard. So, he's, Irish probably. As a little kid, I didn't think that way, but as an adult, as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh, maybe he was. But then you read the card, and it's like, yeah, that's him, but he embraced the snow, and he's a snowboarding champion or something, or skiing champion. They wouldn't have snowboarding back then. He was a skiing champion that was recruited by the Joes, and they trained him up to be a military guy as well. But you get an idea of his personality. He's kind of extreme. He's kind of out there. Because, he's an athlete first. And a military guy. He's a... What do you call him? I don't know. Soldier. He's a soldier second. But, I mean, once he's in G.I. Joe, he's very much a soldier. And he's highly trained, Marine sniper or something. And he's got a sniper rifle out there while he moves through the colder climates. Just you get all this because you buy the figure. You wouldn't get any of this if you just, like, saw him on a cartoon. Or saw him in the comic book. Because when that first wave hit the comic books, or the second wave hit the comic books, Gung Ho, Doc, Snow Job, and the Navy, the underwater guy. Can't think of his name right now. They came with so much stuff. The action figures did, and they just blew up in the story. They're like, oh, hey, here's some new characters, and we're going to use them right away. And they used them right away. Oh, you know who I forgot? Breaker. It sucks, too, because that was my first figure of G.I. Joe. The guy that didn't come with a gun. Apropos for what I said earlier, I want to kill people. I don't want people to die. I know they have to sometimes, but I don't want to be involved in it. The very first G.I. Joe figure I got was the guy that didn't come with a gun. That could have. I mean, in the comics, he carried a gun because he was one of the main Joes. One of my favorites, too, because he's always chewing bubble gum and blowing bubbles. Just saying. I mean, okay, we're nearing an hour. How are all of you out there? I hope you're okay. I know this is a crazy time. That's why I've been uploading so much content. I know nobody's going to watch it, but that's okay. I'm trying to be like the conscientious one. Like, let's refocus. My teeth suck, but my eyes are deep blue. And yeah, people like that. I don't know. Comic books are rad. Larry Hama's a rad dude, even though he called me a misogynist and a hateful person. I'll always forgive him because he wrote G.I. Joe comics and the Nom, and he created some of the characters that put me on a better path, like loyalty, honesty, camaraderie, all this stuff I learned from him. I mean, my parents and stuff, sure, but the comic books were, and of course, Sturm Brightblade and Riverwind and Tanis F. Helvin. These are the things I read as I was growing up, and they kind of forged my personality. They give me my source of ethics. I might be a deviant motherfucker. I mean, I know I am, but I'm loyal to a fault. I'm honorable. I always honor any contract. Despite my situation, I always come through. I always find a way. Because I care about everyone else. It's not all about me. I could be a selfish asshole, but that's like, it's not me. Selfishness is like the key to like that alignment that they call chaotic evil. And that ain't me. I don't care about material possessions. I don't want yours. I don't even want mine. And that's the truth. Honestly, I just don't care anymore. I mean, like, what's the point? I love having a phone and some clean clothes to wear, and that's all I need. All I need is music. My phone provides all of that. I have like 1,000 albums that I paid for, all of them. Because, everyone needs to get paid for their hard work. almost 900 comic books now. Paid for all of them. It's just a shame that, the comic book industry is completely dead now because of COVID-19 and because of their own inability to, hire people that would put out comic books that people want to read. I'll tell you this, Stan Humphries and Eduardo Pansica, those dudes need a shout out because Green Lanterns from DC Rebirth, fucking awesome. I mean, I would, anybody who reads comics out there, that's something I would say. Green Lanterns, DC Rebirth. It's not the characters you know. I didn't know them when I started. It's Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz as Green Lanterns, and they're trying to be heroes. They haven't gotten a lot of training. They're not the best. They're not Hal Jordan. They're not Jon Stewart. They're not Kyle Rayner. And they're not Guy Gardner. It's just a guy and a girl trying their best. And everything happens to them. It's such an action-packed comic because that's what comics should be. But Jessica can't form constructs with her Green Lantern ring because she doesn't know how. She can fly, she can create shields, but she can't, attack anyone. Simon is all about attacking, but he's not, good at it yet. He's a boy that hasn't figured it out yet. So you got a girl that can't do everything, and a guy that, I don't know. Simon's cool. I like his character. He's got a family on Earth that he cares about a lot, and Jessica is a shut-in because of something that happened to her, and she got her power because she sacrificed herself to save Barry Allen, the Flash. The Black Racer fucking killed her. But a Green Lantern ring came from outer space and was you have the ability to resist great fear. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps. And it was heroic. It's what I talk about a lot on this channel. Heroism. It's what makes comic books the thing I've always liked in fantasy novels and video games. I mean some of those games you get to choose if you're going to be a good guy or bad guy. I can tell you I've been a bad guy in video games a lot because it lets me live out a side of myself that isn't me. But when I'm in the role of the protagonist in a video game, I play it true with the spirit of the game. I don't go around killing people or dropping things on people, not trying to hurt anybody. You can do that in a lot of video games. You can do that. Infamous being a title. There's 3 Infamous games. The third one was the first, one of the launch titles for the PlayStation 4. Totally awesome game, but the first 2 let you play as a good guy or a bad guy. And, and the third one does too, but I always try to play it heroically because the guy gets his powers by an accident, and so he's kind of he doesn't know what to do. But then the world starts reacting to the fact that there's somebody out there with superpowers because he's not the only one. Right. He's not the only one. He got powers. Other people got powers too, and they're tearing the place apart. Now you can go join with them, or you can fight them. It's a really great, like, kind of concept. I mean, honestly, it's not the first game to let you do that, but it's one of them that it's the first superhero game, I think, to let you do that. Because you got superpowers, you could be a hero or a villain. Let me tell you, in the first game, you didn't get any XP for murdering people. And you still had to fight your way through all the gangs, even though they were trying to recruit you. You had to fight them all. And you didn't get any XP for killing them either. So it made it incredibly challenging to be a bad guy in the first game. The very first game. Here's the finger. Yeah. But they learned. Maybe that was a mistake. But you can't get a platinum trophy unless you play through it as a bad guy. And it's so fucking hard, but in the end, it's worth it. Well, shit. Sorry about that. Oops. Nobody's gonna watch this anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, so being good to each other, stop being such assholes and hoarding everything. You know who you are. But again, no one's going to watch this video. I mean, I'm talking about G.I. Joe and the Mass Device and comic books and, yeah, nobody cares. I shouldn't let that get me down. It always feels like it gets me down when I say nobody cares. But nobody cares. I mean, I'm putting myself out here, man. I'm like promoting good stuff. I'm like trying to get people to read Green Lanterns. I'm trying to like people to watch the Mass Device, the G.I. Joe show. I'm like not trying to be a douchebag, but nobody's going to watch. No one's going to hear about these opinions that I have. But at least I'm putting them out here. I guess that's something. Thank you, Zach, for inspiring this video. Thank you for your service. Thank you for reading G.I. Joe and being inspired to go serve your country. I felt the same way. It just, I don't want to kill people. That's all. That's my thesis statement for this video. It's like, I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to kill them. So I can't join the military. I can't become part of the CIA. I can't, like, do any of that stuff. That's just me. And, I'm maybe 5 years older than him. Shit, open my eyes. Holy moly. Yeah. I know these videos ramble. I know they go everywhere. I'm just thinking, just talking. I don't really have a thesis for this one. It's just, thank you, Zach, for shooting me over there to see the Mass Device episode 1. Because it's great. It's my childhood all over again, but I'm seeing it through new eyes because it's like the most action-packed. The betrayals are so everywhere. These people just don't give a fuck. I mean, shit. The bad guys are so bad, but nobody really gets hurt. And that's what kind of drew me away from it. That's why I love the comics, because, Snake Eyes is a ninja. He kills people. And every one of those guys, they end the enemy. In the very first issue, Stalker says to his superior, well, if they got the lady there that's going to build them the nuke, why don't we just bomb the island? And, his superior says, hey, that's an American citizen. We're not going to leave her like that. And, that brings up that nationalism. But is it wrong for freaking 10-year-old boys to want to feel a sense of pride in their nation? I don't know. Zach was 8, I was 10. Thank you, Zach. Honestly. You inspired me to create a YouTube channel. I know nobody watches mine, but that's okay. My biggest video is one where I called you out for some nonsense. Just how I felt at the moment. I was very disappointed that you took a pen to the cover of an Iron Man book. Iron Man being like one of my favorite heroes, but I thought the artwork was great, and you were like, nope, it sucks because of this, and this. I'm like, I kind of lost my mind over, it's an art reason. It's not like it wasn't a scree from a SJW. It's just a guy that just like, I love comics just as much as you do. Don't fuck with them. I love it when you rip bad comics in half. I've been a little disappointed in your videos lately because you don't. You don't. It's okay. Not every comic needs to get ripped in half, but there was an art. It's an art piece when you do it. It's like, look at me. I'm destroying other people's art because it sucks. All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Thank you for giving to the Patreon. And I'm just goofing. Anyways, have a great night, everyone. But please, if you like this content, just subscribe. I'm trying to be a good guy on this one. I'm not ranting. I'm not really disappointed in anything. Zach just led me to something awesome that I'd kind of forgotten about. And I'll tag him in the tags. So maybe some of his viewers will come over here. I don't know. It's 68 minutes. This is a rant. This is just a rant. Thank you all. If anybody watches this, thank you all. I might have COVID-19. I might be sick as a dog. I don't feel bad. I just can't. My voice isn't working the way it's supposed to. If I come through sounding like Barry White, it's not. That's not my voice. You've heard it on other videos. You know what my voice sounds like. Oh, shit. I don't see myself very often. I gotta tell you, and I usually make my videos where I'm looking at something else. And the something else is usually not much. It's like lights from a building or the chair next to me. Because I'm not a very attractive individual. But you know what? I want everyone to see me. I do. Because I'm a human just like you. Can't keep my eyes open. Probably because I drank all those before I started this video. And I plan to go get some more when I'm done making this video. It doesn't make me happy to think that I'm going to get more beer. But I can't help myself. Anyways, if you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you like what I do. You can hit me up on PayPal at rock72@gmail.com. Peace.